And I'm going to ask them all to join me on the stage here and give you all the opportunity to ask them any questions that you may have after their presentations. But yes, but loud.
Well, I think by bringing it into their conscious minds, I was for many years a member of Toastmasters, where you would give a speech and then people would tell you what they thought was good about it and what was bad about it. If you said so many times, they'd say, hey, you said so like 25 times. You need to work on that. So then that would be in your conscious mind. And you'd start getting rid of it. You'd start saying so less, or you know what I mean, or you didn't have eye contact. By bringing it into your conscious mind, you can only then, I think, start making positive changes, maybe by people sharing with you their impressions of your nonverbal communication. Otherwise, it just stays right there in the unconscious, and it's not going to change.
Oh, the prep time. Creating guided notes takes a lot more time than just creating opportunities for students to talk more. So in terms of my effort, right, choral responding is easy. I teach my students when I want them to respond, and I cue them and they respond. That takes no prep, really, other than reminding myself to do it, right? Guided notes, I have to take my lectures, I have to take out the important points that I want them to remember, convert it into a PDF, write prompts in for them to remember later on. Inner teaching, significantly more prep, because I've got to write discussion questions that are going to lead students to really delve into the information. So I have to take all the taxonomies, right? Can't just be knowledge, and incorporate those into my questions. So that's where the levels of teacher difficulty come in.
That's hard. I think one of the ways that I do it is I try to think about how it's going to be received, and maybe that's me being rhetorical, but like with my students, I encourage them to do topics that they're interested in, and that engages their passion. But sometimes, we can get caught up in what we're doing, and we're not thinking about how we're coming across the other person. And in that way, I think that conveying the concept, it's actually very important to think, okay, where are they at, and how am I coming across? I might be saying this with the best of intentions, but I might just be too excited and say something that isn't the right thing to say. Does that answer it?
So I think in my classroom, I create the rubric first based on the learning targets that I'm looking for. And so then I can decide what alternative students can do and still hit the learning targets that I've set. So if one of my learning targets is that they understand that there were at least 3 conflicts, then I can use art for that and just let students know that I'm looking for 3. If I want students to demonstrate that they understand something on an emotional level, then I will actually tell students, if art's one of the choices, if you're like the person that kind of draws stick figures, don't try to do the art choice because you think it's going to be easier, because on the rubric, you're not going to get the score. So I make the rubric first based on the learning targets, and then I determine which types of responses can actually yield a good result on the rubric, and then give the students the rubric ahead of time.
In my classes, I require presentations, and the rubric always includes some nonverbal communication specifics that they need to demonstrate. And one thing that I now have thought of that Gary asked about, what really got me started in the whole thing was just reading a book called Instant Rapport that made all these claims about what people do nonverbally, which were unbelievable. And I saw them every day, every chapter, realized that's what got me started into using more positive nonverbal communication.
Okay, so I would ask you all to give a last round of applause for our presenters.
thank you all again for coming, and they may be available for a couple minutes after if you want to talk to them one-on-one. Thank you again.